about cultural achievements of the Cholas, in which we have seen about the temples. Then afterwards we have seen about language, and after that we have seen about one more topic, which was a sculpture. So about the temple, about the sculpture, about the language and literature. So about this we have seen in previous video. Many of languages were introduced by the Cholas. They were patrons of many of languages and many of literature, which was translated from the Sanskrit, from any another Persian languages into the local languages. So about this and this all information is mentioned in the inscriptions which are made up of copper plates. Some of inscriptions which are available on the walls of palaces, walls of temples, stone walls, so on which the information is written in the form of inscriptions, and by which we can know about the languages, which languages were there, which languages were developed by the Cholas. Then afterwards the next topic, which is administration. How was the administration of the Chola rulers? The rulers, the emperors, how they were managing, how they were administrating all the affairs. So about this we are going to see now here. In the administration, in any administration in a monarchical form, where the ruler, the emperor is important, and if needed, if he feel he is taking the help of his ministers, of his sabhapatis, if needed. So by consulting them, by discussing with them, he is deciding all the matters, all the issues which are needed for the empire. So in this way, the ruler who was powerful and all the rights were in the hand of ruler or in the hand of king, and for better administration, whole empire, whole territories which were under control of Chola rulers, so that whole empire was divided into the mandalas. Whole empire was divided into the mandalams. Then again, mandalams were divided into the valnadus or district. First, whole empire was divided into the mandalams. Then again, mandalam was divided into the valnadus or district. Mandalams were divided into the valnadus or district. Then again, districts, where some large towns were there, some group of villages were there. Like this formation was there in district. Districts were also divided into small villages. Some large towns were also there. So group of village form large town, which was known as nadus. Some of groups, suppose in any area lots of villages are there, so that group of village was known as a nadus. 5 to 6 villages are there, so that group was known as nadus. So in this way, the area, the territories were divided, and all mandalams were managed. The head of mandala, where the governor was appointed by the ruler to take care of mandalams, to manage all the issues, all the matters of mandalams. Governor was appointed, was from the royal family. That governor was appointed, so that governor was from the royal family. And again, valnadus, which were divided into the group of village or any large town, was also there in valnadus. Then the towns, some of towns which were known as nagarams. These towns, group of village, some another towns or any another large town was known as nagarams, and very large town was known as Taniyu. Group of villages were known as nadus. Then again, nagarams were also there, means some any of villages. Then large town, a large city was known as Tanigul. Then in the administration of Cholas, there were some of assemblies. Assemblies were the most important part of administration was the assemblies, which were mainly of two types. Two type of assemblies were there. So that were Pur and Sabha. Pur and Sabha. Pur were the generals. The generals are head peoples as well as large landowners. These all important persons, important generals, important large landowners were coming in the woods and they were discussing on various issues, as well as some of sabhas. Sabhas about the information. The information about the sabha is mentioned in the inscriptions which are written by the Parakantas. Parakanta's inscriptions are giving us information about the assemblies, about the sabhas which were there during the period of Cholas. In Sabha, some committees were formed and that committees were working on various matters. They were solving various issues which were related of temples, gardens, revenue system. The committee which was made by the assembly, so that committee was working on various issues, various matters which were regarding as temples, which were regarding as gardens, revenue system and law and order. So in this way, assemblies were very important, which were performed the role of local self-government, in which Ur and Sabha. Ur means the group of important peoples, large landowner, where all important peoples were discussing, and Sabha, where committees were performed the work which were solving the matters of temples, gardens, revenue system and law and order. So these all issues were solved during the period of Chola Empire. Then money gramams. What is money gramam? What is meant by money gramams? So money gramams are referred as large trading corporations. Large trading corporations. Some of records are available about the large trading corporations which are known as money gramams. Large trading corporations are known as money gramams and which were operating in inlands as well as inland towns and coastal areas. These corporations which were operating, which were doing the work in inland areas as well as coastal areas. So this is known as money gramams. Money gramams are large trading corporations which are related, which are operated in inland as well as coastal areas. So this is known as money gramams. The next, agriculture. Agriculture. Before this also, some of information is mentioned about the agriculture. That was the benefit which was coming, which was gained on the trade. So that all benefit, all extra income was used for the agriculture. So agriculture, this was also important part during the Chola Empire. The rulers, the peoples who were focusing on agriculture, many of facilities were there, and the rulers who opened large area, for large scale cultivation. They clean the forest. They give the dry lands to the peoples to cultivation, and large area was under cultivation. Then they level the lands for better cultivation. The rulers, another governor, another employee, they were leveling the lands which could become very fertile, and as a result the yield can be increased. Then they were clearing the forest. They cleared the forest, they leveled the land, they cleared the forest, as well as the peoples, the farmers. who learned and introduced many of systems like multi-cropping. The two crops in a year, multiple cropping. These systems were also developed by the Chola rulers, by the Chola peoples during that time. Means in a year they were growing two crops in a field. Then they were excelled in cultivation of rice. Excelled means very perfect, large cultivation, large yield. They were very perfect in the cultivation of rice because of the area of Chola Empire, which was mainly around the Kaveri River, Kaveri Delta, which was fertile, which was made up of alluvial soil, and due to that, they were very excellent, they were very perfect in the cultivation of rice crops. The rice crop was mostly produced in the farm in a large quantity. That is irrigation. Before this, we have seen about the administration, agriculture, and the next part, which is last from this lesson, that is irrigation. So during the Chola period, the irrigation was perfect. It was a well organized irrigation system, the Cholas, and it is said that the irrigation was well organized during the Chola period, which was Chola Empire, which was in southern part, where the important river was Kaveri, and lots of branches of Kaveri, lots of tributaries, lots of branches of Kaveris which were flowing, and that all were depositing alluvial soil. As a result, the soil was fertile, the land was fertile, and due to that, the crops were giving lots of production. Lots of production was giving that all channels. There were lots of channels of the Kaveri river to the Kaveri river, and not only channels, embankment was also there on the delta of Kaveri, while it was to stop or to prevent the flooding, to stop the flooding. There was some embankment on the delta or near to the delta on the branches or on the river of Kaveri river or any another river, and from that embankment some of small canals were constructed to give the water to the field, to cultivation of the land. So like these small canals were constructed by the peoples, by which the land was become very fertile. Then the method of artificial water tank. This was also one of unique feature of the Chola rulers, Chola dynasties. The method of artificial water tanks were also used for the irrigation purpose, through which the water was provided for the land and the crops were yielded. Then cropping as well as wells. Lots of wells were dug by the Chola rulers. Then huge tanks for the irrigation, not only wells, some of huge tanks were also constructed. As we know, in front of Brihadeshwara temple there was a tank, and which was filled by the water of Ganga river. So like that, for the irrigation purpose also huge tanks were constructed. Dams were also there, which were near to the Tanjavur, the capital city of Chola. So near to the Tanjavur, dam were constructed, and as a result, the southern part or the Chola Empire, which was famous for the granary, which was known as the granary of the south. The because of irrigation, best technique of irrigation. Lots of organized irrigation system. So due to this, the yield was increased, and due to this part was known as the granary of the south. As we know, the temples which were constructed by the rulers in the Chola duration. So these temples were very rich. The trust, the peoples, Purohit, these all peoples were very rich. A lot of monies were collected as a donation, as a grant by visitors or by travelers. So this money was also used for the irrigation system. The land was cultivated, granted by the rulers to the peoples for the cultivation, and as a result, the Chola Empire was based in the agriculture form as well as in irrigation system, and the yield was increased day by day. So in this way we have seen about the second lesson, which was rise of new kingdoms, in which we have seen about various powers which were in the north, south and east part. After that we have seen the achievements, developments which were done in Chola period. Now you have to read whole lesson carefully, write new words, learn it. After that some MCQs, OTQs and question answers are given. Write in CW as well as in SW. Or MCQs, OTQs you have to write in CW, and question answer you have to write in SW and learn it.